Well, welcome to another episode of Papa's Workshops. These are for Adam, Brady, Luke, and Brenna, and all those others that like seeing an old man make sawdust. Before we start working on carving the pedestal, let's go ahead and get the legs or feet, whatever you want to call them. Let's get that all glued up. I did pre-drill some holes for screws. That's how I'm going to attach the pedestal to this when it gets to that point. So we're ready for glue up. Alright, so here's a little frame that I built to hold the pedestal. So the column section goes in here. I'm going to use this strap to strap it in, and if I need to get it tight, I've got a piece of drawer liner I can stick in there. The top of it will sit on this little ledge, and it gives me a couple of options. I can clamp it down to the bench and have it up this high. I can put it in the vise and let it sit lower. I can let this other end get even lower and raise that other end up if I need to give me some angle if I need it. So I've got several options, and then when we start carving, we'll kind of see what works best. But first we got to draw the leaf patterns on the pedestal. So we're going to just put it in the vise this way to start, and we'll see how that works. All right, here's the acanthus leaf pattern that we're going to carve onto the pedestal. And thanks to Mary May, this is kind of from her book. She taught a week-long class here at the Woodworking Guild in Kansas City. Gosh, it's been a year or two, maybe 3 years ago, I don't remember. Anyway, so this is the pattern. Now the red marks are where I'm going to cut out on my pattern. So we end up with this. You can't really see where it's cut out, but I can draw lines where those holes are now and then connect all the dots. So we got to put this last one on. So now it's a matter of tracing the outline. Of course, it doesn't conform to the curve, so you kind of have to bend it around. So it's just a matter of tracing this all out. All right, so we end up with connect the dots. So it's just a matter of filling this out. These go up to here. This goes right up to there. And this goes up to this guy here. And that's this leaf. And that goes up to there. And that is that leaf. This goes up to there. Yeah, it goes right there, I think. And it's just a simple, we don't want to get too complex on this, but just a couple of strokes. And this will be refined as we start the carving going. But there we have it. We got a couple up here, and then we got the lip, the top coming across, and we'll just do that. think that's one of the first things we're going to tackle is get rid of this rib, except for when we need it. Like that. And then I just need to do this kind of a pattern here, this template, kind of in between the two, so I don't have to carve that out all the way down to the bottom. So we'll need to outline this and lower all of this stuff in between about 1/16 of an inch, just enough to show relief on the leaves. All right, I got this frame is clamped to the bench. I'm going to start here on the bench. The idea of pounding on this with all this weight hanging out on the end of the vise didn't seem like a good idea. And it seems about the right height, so we should be good. So, I've not done this before on this kind of a shape. I've carved the leaves before, like on the last project, my card table legs, had the leaf pattern. And on that, it was easy enough to lower this edge by 1/16 of an inch and then feather that into the rest of the leg. But this, we've got to do that all across here, and then of course it has to blend in with this surface already here. I tried to make this, a little bit higher than this so we had material for the leaf, so hopefully that works out. So at first impressions would be that I've got to lower everything in this space here by 1/16 of an inch, but I'm not sure that I have to. I think what I'm going to try first we're going to get rid of this rib between here and there, and then I'll outline these and feather it and see how it looks. We may not have to take much out of the middle. We'll see how it looks. As long as it looks right, being higher there may actually accentuate the curve, so it may be fine. We'll just have to play with it. So like I said, first I'm going to knock this out of there, and I think rather than using a V tool to outline that, I think what I'll do is just lightly chop each feather and then bring it in to that point. Anyway, we'll see how that works. So rather than taking up the whole video of me doing this, I'll just every once in a while show the progress. All right, looks like I picked the worst spot to start in. Cherry is known for its wavy grain, and I've got right in here, there's a spot where it just, no matter which way I cut it, this should be downhill, but you can see there's a big chunk out of that. I'll just get the light, hit it right. And you kind of see, I can't really, so you can see it a little bit there, so it's right in there. So I got a bunch of work to do on that. I've got this lowered about 1/16. I'm using a little gauge to, this side I've still got to do some more work on. But I think it's going to be possible to get it all smooth. I do have to take off some in the middle. Just by the time I'm there, there's only a small band, so it's going to take some work. I get it as smooth as I can with the carving tools, and then I have to work on it with some scrapers to get it smooth. But that area is going to be tough right there. Hopefully the others aren't that way, the other lobes. So we're going to finish this, and then we're going to rotate it 90 and do all 4 sections like this. Then we'll work actually on the leaf itself. I found it was a little easier to rotate it toward me to carve. So onward. All right, I got them all in this, both edges lowered. So now I need to get this all smooth. And so I'm going to just start with scrapers and get that as best I can. And then I've got this small one to get down in close. So it's just a matter of working it. It goes pretty quick. And I found it easier to carve this side, then flip it 180 and do this side. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get it smooth from here down this way, then flip it and work this way since I'm right-handed. So we're getting there. All right, we pretty much got it all smoothed out. I mean, I could spend more time on it, and I will eventually. But right now, that's probably good enough because I'm going to invariably nick something when I'm doing this. So I got all four in this state. And I still got a little bit there, don't I? So I'm going to work on the top of the leaf that's supposed to be curled over. So I need to shape that a little bit more. I just roughed it out when I was forming the edges here. Since this is going to be down at knee level, I don't have to do anything really on the bottom of this. So that'll just be meat to support this curve here. We'll get those four done. And then while it's in this orientation, I'll do this little bottom piece here. Then we'll work on these guys. All right, I'm working on these guys. It turned out that the fold over, it's easier if I turn it around. So I'm going to just go ahead and do these. So the first step is to take the V tool and then make these cuts here. Because this leaf is on top of this leaf's on top of this leaf, and so on. So once I got the V, then take a almost flat chisel and take that away. So I just got to keep doing that till we get enough relief in there. And of course this leaf's on top of this over here. So then when that's done, then we'll get them all smoothed out. Then we'll put the ribs in there, and that'll make it look like a leaf. All right, we've got the fold over leaf pretty well done. So now we're going to start on this main body. I'm going to work from about this midpoint that way, because this one has to go down. And these ribs right here are raised, so we need to lower either side of those tubes. That's what they're supposed to look like. And then, of course, I started on this one. This leaf is on top of this is on top of this one, this was on top of this one. So we need to, this edge, in each case, we need to lower the other side, taper it out, and still have our ribs going down the middle here. So we are getting much, much closer. All right, I've just taken the V tool and outlined those. And so now I'll take a flat and kind of spread out, smooth it out from, either point, and then do another pass with the V tool, get a little deeper until I get it down to where it looks like it's round. All right, that's 2 passes with the V tool. And that should be good enough. And I've just taken my scraper and just bump those corners so that it looks more round. So we're about there. Just got to smooth it out some more, and then we can put the ribs in, and that'll make it look much more like the real thing. There we go. We got these right here. done. I just use a vernier tool, which is like this, and basically just scoop out those eyelets on there. And then of course I put the veins in. So that looks pretty good. If you can see the shadows. Yeah. Doesn't have to be perfect. By the time the finish is on this, it's all going to be just decoration. I mean, you know, it's up underneath the table, so it doesn't have to be real detailed. So I do that to the rest of the other three, then flip the thing around and work that way. I do each step on each one to keep it consistent. So I remember how I did this, so my next one I can do it the same way. If I did the whole thing, then I'd forget what chisels I used, what steps I did. So we're getting there. Oh, I forgot to put the ribs on, so I did that. So now we're going to do the other three. All right, we got all of the top section done, so I've flipped it so I can work downhill and do the same thing. We'll take the V tool and outline the lines and then pare it away. Do that a few times. I've got a piece of plastic that I cut to give me something to ram up against when I go down in there, so we don't chew up that bead. So, and this is what it looks like when it's done. I got this one. If I could turn this. There we go, you can see that. So that's what it looks like. So I got two more to do, this one and the one after that. Then we'll be ready to move on to something else. All right, we got the acanthus leaves done. So that's kind of what it looks like going around. And of course, that'll be viewed more like this instead of be on the floor. So, doesn't look too bad. Now, I move on to something different. All right, there we are. It's looking better. I just have that sitting on there. I took a hand plane and leveled out any inconsistencies here and made sure that it was flat. I had a little cup that I had to plane out, and then I sanded the whole top surface. So the base, the feet, the big X is pretty well done. I just need to break the edges a little bit with some sandpaper, and it'll be ready for finish. But it still has those bun feet that we have to do. And then we've got to carve our lobes here, but a lot of the marks have been rubbed off, especially up here. So I may have to put it back on the lathe and do the indexing trick. And these did not come out as nice as I've wanted. Look at that, the edges there. I had planned on making that a little bit bigger on my, sorry about that. On my plans, I had it as a 1/2 inch wide. This is only 3/8. So I was going to use what was already there as a guide, but it was kind of wobbly, I guess. I guess my fixture wasn't as solid as I thought. So I have to come up with a way of marking the two sides of the cove. And then we still have the bun feet still have to get carved like this on them too. So I don't know what we'll do next. Need kind of a break from the carving. Today we're going to get started on I'm going to give a break on the pedestal for a little bit. I'm going to work on the bun feet. And I think what I'm going to try is, I've got this router bit, and I'm going to try to make my slots with this bit. It won't be enough, but that'll be a start place, and I think I can just go right across all 4 of these, and then we can decide whether we can break them into the 4 pieces or carve them just like that. But I'm going to start with that, see how that works. All right, here I am set up with my router on the lathe so I can index them. I've done 2 already, so I just have to do this 3rd one. Or then keep going, of course. Well, after playing with them with all 4 together, I finally decided it was going to be easier to carve these individually. So I just took a handsaw and cut the stem off each, or, each except. So I got 4 pieces. So now I need to, round those over more so that it's kind of a lobe instead of this. So there's no flat spot across here like this. So just a matter of carving downhill on each of these and then coming back the other way. So I rough it out with a small one and then go over with its number 712 kind of is the curve I want overall. So we'll show you doing that real quick. All right, that was one. I used a file to kind of smooth out the bumps real fast since I'm not the master carver. And then just a scraper with a little bit of a round over to get any marks from the file out of there. So now I just have to keep doing that all the way around. And so this is what it looks like when it's finished compared to the, there's the before and after right there. So once I got all of those done, I put it on, use the tenon that's still on each of them, put that back on the lathe and made sure that was flat by putting my ruler across there. And you can see that's just a little bit dished in, but I want to make sure this outside edge is going to be flush. And then I put I got a drill truck on the lathe and drilled the 3/8 hole about a 1/2 inch down. So now we'll put a dowel in there, and then we'll flip this around, put this back in the lathe this way, cut this guy off, and I used a 1.5 inch Forstner bit to make this just little shallow recess here. That made sure everything was flat, but also I did it so that I could put one of these cushions down in that recess as a pad for our hardwood floors, or you could use a rubber foot that's 1.5 inches in diameter or something like that. So I just have to do that on the rest of these. I've got 2 more this one and 1 more to do, and get them all to this state, and we'll be ready to move on to something else. I think that'd be a good place to stop for this episode. Thanks for watching. Be sure to share this with anybody that's interested in this kind of furniture, and we'll be seeing you next time. Thanks again.